Alright guys, so in the previous video we went through the scenario and we just highlighted in the scenario what is our variable cost, what is our fixed cost, what is our selling price, because as we know for part A we need to find the units, so that means we need to, in the scenario, be able to identify the other three elements, namely variable cost, fixed cost and the selling price. Okay, and which we were able to do as we did with the question. So just to show you the data, so as we did through the question, we would have seen that the selling price is 500. Then the variable cost, we know that the Justin Bieber fee and the CompuTicket fee. Now it's based on the ticket price, so Justin Bieber is 8% of the ticket price, so 8% of 500 is 40, and CompuTicket is 2% of the ticket price, so 2% of 500 is a 10 rand, and then the glasses is 25 from the scenario, so that our total variable cost comes to 75. Our fixed cost, Justin Bieber requires a flat fee of $640,000, and they gave us an exchange rate, and because we're in South Africa we have to convert to rands, and 640 times by the exchange rate gives you 8.16 million. And then all those costs, stadium rent, setup, ADT security, lighting and so on, were all fixed costs as well. So that's your total fixed cost. And then as you can see, remember, there's always four things. Part A, one of it was unknown, which is the units. So here's the other remaining three. So that selling price per unit is 500, variable cost per unit, total variable cost per unit is 75, and total fixed cost is 8.8 million. And then as we said, we just plug it into this formula. So selling price of 500, variable cost 75, fixed cost 8.8, and it's to break even, and we basically just solve for x. In this case I've used my unknown y. It doesn't matter what you use, but you just solve for x, and then I get to 20,706 tickets that need to be sold in order to break even. But I just want to highlight the key step here was that once I identified these three elements separately, I simply just plug it into this formula and I'm solving for the unknown. So if you get this correct, so that element and the selling price correct, and you remember this formula, then you just plug in your inputs into this formula, and then it becomes a mathematics exercise. And even if you happen to make a mistake, you still get principal marks because you've gotten all the correct inputs. Alright, so let's move on to part B. And part B of this question was having researched Madonna's previous attendance, Crazy Concert estimated 25 tickets will be sold. So now we know the quantity, so quantity no longer unknown, and it's no longer to break even. We want to achieve a profit of 5.5 million, and they're asking us what the selling price will be. So very important over here, again we just plot what we know. So the selling price is unknown because we're effectively solving for the selling price. Now here's the thing that's a bit tricky. What we need to remember, previously the Justin Bieber fee and the CompuTicket fee was based on the selling price. But now in part B, the selling price is unknown. So effectively you have 8% of an unknown and 2% of an unknown. And it may look stupid, but if your unknown is y or x or whatever you call it, then 8% of y and 2% of y will just give you 10% of y. It's okay that it's y because we will solve for it in the end. But just know that this Justin Bieber fee and the CompuTicket fee is linked to the selling price. So in other words, whatever the selling price is, we need to multiply these variable costs with the selling price. Then in part A, you'll see that we also had the glasses, and in part B it's still 25 rand. And the reason why I'm separating the 25 rand from the rest of the variable costs, because the 25 rand is a known variable cost. In other words, there's no unknown attached to it. We know what it is. Okay, and then the fixed cost has remained the same. There's no change for part B, so it's still 8.8 million. And then we don't want to break even. We want to achieve a profit of 5.5. Now watch this. It looks complicated, but it's still just applying these inputs to the formula. So still apply this formula. Only difference is now my variable costs, my selling price is unknown, but my units is 25,000. Alright. Then I have effectively two types of variable cost. The known variable cost, which is the classes, so it's 25 Rand times the 25,000 units. And the unknown variable cost, which is the 8% plus the 2% times the 25,000 units times by the selling price. Because remember, the CompuTicket fee and the Justin Bieber fee is 10% times the selling price. So that's why it's 10% times Y, and then you multiply with the number of tickets. And then I minus the fixed cost, and it needs to equal 5.5 million. And once you have this row correct, it's basically a matter of solving for X or Y in this case. And once you solve for Y, you'll see we need to get a ticket price of 663.33 cents. Now logically, it needs to be higher than the 500 Rand. Why? Because if we needed 500 Rand to break even, in other words achieve a profit of 0, then definitely we're going to need a selling price of higher than 500 Rand if we want to make a profit of 5.5 million. So just logically in an exam when things are a bit stressful, it's just you want to check your answer that it just makes logical sense. Because if you got an answer of less than 500 here, it would not make sense. I mean, how can you, nothing else changing except the fact that you have a higher profit that you want to make, how can you end up selling for a lower price if you want a higher profit? So this answer had to be higher than 500. Alright, so I'm going to end the video here for now, but the only trick here was in this scenario was really just that you have known variable costs and unknown variable costs, and that's okay. You just separate that which is known from that which is unknown, and you apply the known and the unknown separately in this formula. So the known variable cost is still, and the unknown variable cost is both still variable costs. We just have to separate them because there's an unknown variable attached to it. Alright, so that's really as difficult as I think it can get, and yeah, I hope after working through this and watching this video you hopefully find that it's not too hard, and yeah, that you'll be able to solve any similar questions going forward. Thanks guys.